So when you are choosing a journal, follow the following questions that need to be answered. So, is the subject of the article a match for the subject focus of the journal? A good tip, what you can do in order to figure out is there a match between these two, is to look at your own reference list that you have at the end of the manuscript. If the reference list at the end of the manuscript will contain some of the some of the articles published in that specific journal, then you are on a good way to match with the topic of the journal. The second part is to consider what types of articles are accepted. If you have just a short communication of a development of your research project but not the final data, then you should intend to submit for a short communication. If the journal doesn't offer that specific type of communications, then it might be either time to figure out a different journal, or it might be time to wait out and get more data and publish only after you get the wider data. Then the next question is the journal read by your target audience? So if you want to talk with other translational researchers about a new methodology that you tried, it's definitely a different type of communication than if you want to communicate it how your results are important for the general public and how your results will be implemented in the future. So consider who you want to impact with your research. Then there's also the question about bibliographic and subject specific databases. Is it indexed in a database that you use? So for the natural sciences and medical databases, you will have Synology, that is for nursing, then Scopus, then Medline, and all of these together build a basis of the subject specific databases. Another question is, does the journal have an online edition? Already in this day and age, this might be a very rare event that someone doesn't have online editions, but it might be an important event, especially if you are publishing for your PhD. If you are publishing for your PhD, the possibility is quite high that you will need at least a published manuscript in a preprint or in a version that is prior to the volume in which the manuscript is going to be published. Meaning, if there is no online version or if they don't publish upon acceptance, sometimes you will have a long time until your manuscript is published and you have done what you need to do. So, for that point, you need to also think about the speed of the publishing. Then the next question is the journal's impact factor in line with your requirements? So, do you need anything in the first quartile, in the second quartile? So, what is the least and most acceptable option for you in terms of the impact factor? Then the next question is the journal regarded as prestigious by your colleagues and peers? Sometimes it doesn't need to be a high impact factor volume, but it can be something that is highly valued in your community, or it might have a high outreach in your community when you're building a name for yourself. And if this is the case, then you need to publish in such journals. Then the next question is, what is the turnaround time for articles submitted to the journal? This is an important question exactly for PhD students, sometimes even postdoc students, mainly because you are bound by some timelines. And if your manuscript is waiting to be reviewed for 6 months and you need to finish off your PhD in 7 months, this might not be the right venue for you. Then the next question is, how many times in a year is the journal published? So this is especially if they have the rule that they don't publish online only pieces, but that they always publish the pieces also in the offline, so the print journal. If this is a rule, then this is quite important because they are more limited with the space than if they publish also online only manuscripts. Then the next question is, what are the publication charges? So, can you afford publishing if you get accepted? Most of the journals will tell you that they don't really care about if you have the money or not in the beginning process. But it becomes more and more important when you go to the closing processes. And in the closing process, it is that you will need to have the funding in order to publish. In many journals, it will not be possible to not publish, if you don't have the funding prior available. So make sure you do have it when you publish in a journal that expects publication charges. And then consider sometimes contacting the editor before submission. This will save you a lot of time if you are unsure if the submission fits to your specific topic and the topic of the journal. So consider a pre-submission inquiry, and that inquiry should be really talking about what your manuscript is about, and at the same time, if this fits to the journal. This is usually not an invitation that this will go to further review, but at the same time, it might be something worth considering because it saves you time if it's totally wrong, so to not get the desk rejection. Another tip that I would like to give you here is to ensure that when you send the pre submission inquiry, you already have most of the manuscript ready and set to go, so that you have only a few finesses that you need to consider. Because with this part, you will be able to better than submit once you have the go ahead. So, meaning, if you ask editor, can I submit to your journal? Do you think this will be a good fit? And the editor answers, yes, I think this is a good fit. Then at that point, you should be nearly 95% ready to submit the manuscript.